Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Elseworlds Exchange. I'm Sal. That's Joel. We're doing it. We're doing another ranking video because it's been a while. It's been a while since we've actually done a show live in a while, so why not come back? Joel, this is your brainchild. You were like, hey, Gobby's back.
Yeah, very much so. I read Amazing Spider-Man 50, and it just kind of incepted into my mind, where I'm like, yeah, Green Goblin's back there, serving up with a fair amount of pomp and circumstance. So, like, yeah, it got me a little nostalgic for Green Goblin's past, and I figured this might make for a good show topic.
I think you're right. I think it's interesting. Once we delved into it and looked at these different fits for the Green Goblin, we were like, oh my God, he's actually had a lot of different looks, but you'll see some consistency. Before we jump into it, of course, I want to mention the show is sponsored by viewers like you. You watching the show live, you got an idea or thought or your favorite Goblin costume, use a super chat, ask a question or comment, read it here on the show. It'll be part of the show forever, and it goes to the infrastructure that allows this channel to continue to survive. We're actually going to try something a little different this time around. We normally, when we do our rankings, we go by the video game S through F tier.
Oh, yeah.
I saw one of our colleagues near mint condition using this website, and so I'm like, why not do it ourselves? We can actually watch and rank and then go back and revisit it at the end of the show in real time. So, ladies and gentlemen, for your viewing pleasure, it's the ranking of the Green Goblin costumes. We have the outfits pretty much all set up, and we're going to drag them into these brackets in real time. And it is S through D. I think D is pretty damning, all things considered.
For sure.
So, you know, normally we give an F. It's very rare that a character gets an F at this point from us, but
it's true.
We figured Ds are good enough or bad enough.
You know, there's room for improvement there. It's not quite a see me after class, but it's getting there, mister.
It's true. So so I guess that's that. Super chats, join us. Back issues is available on patreon.com/comicpop if you want to watch it early. Otherwise, let's jump into it. We got a bunch of... So, what makes a good Goblin costume? Or Green Goblin? Because we're talking specifically about the Green Goblin. That's it. We're not going into grays or blues, just green.
Hobbs. Those are whole episodes onto themselves. And then like it gets even crazier too, because then it's like, well, Norman Osborn has been the Green Goblin most of the time, but there's been other Green Goblins, and even Norman has been other people on top of that.
That's true. That's true. There have been yeah, that's right. That's right. So I guess it's not Norman Osborn goblins, because I guess that would also include like the Red Goblin.
An Iron Patriot and shit.
An Iron Patriot and stuff like that. And no gold goblins either. So we're just going with green
different
goblins.
Guy, different color. This is all people who have been green, which again, I think people forget when they look back at that. Yeah, Green Goblin is a legacy identity too. That's
true. Yeah. Yeah. That one of the OGs from the Silver Age of a legacy character. Because man, yeah. So yeah, all right. First up, obviously, I think is the Steve Ditko suit design. It is not the classic one that we think of, even though it is the template for it. And of course, that is this ridiculous suit right here, where it has the pointy hat, but it's more like a long kind of pointed.
It's a Victorian nightcap.
Exactly. He rides his broomstick, which is just a long metal polluting tube.
It's so wonderfully weird, isn't it? It's shocking that a design like this stood the test of time the way it did, because everything about it is just strange and has sweet fuck all to do with spiders.
Absolutely. Well, it's I think that's part of the reason why people liken the Green Goblin to essentially Spider-Man's Joker, and it's because like, what do bats and clowns have to do with each other? What do spiders and goblins have to do with each other? And yet these laughing Jack-in-the-Box monsters are iconic and celebrated villains of their
similar
of our
color schemes too, green and purple.
That's very true. That's very true.
I think the thing that works about Green Goblin is I think he is probably one of the greatest examples of continuity and sequential storytelling done right. Like, we take it for granted now, but it was quietly revolutionary back then, where it's like, yeah, Spider-Man's arch nemesis is his best friend's dad. He's just a guy he knows who's in his life, and every time he fights him, it's awkward, and it gets more awkward every time he comes back.
It's true. He also, the fun thing is, like, he is, it starts out being he's his friend's dad, even though early on
He's technically
Harry and
another
Peter
guy.
weren't.
It's the whole thing.
Well,
Yeah.
I was gonna say Peter and Harry weren't really exactly friends. They were more like frenemies. But
Mm.
but he was related to his social group, and he was the patriarch of one of their families. And there was a deep personal connection, unlike with Joker and Batman, where Joker's just some guy. Green Goblin presumably is some guy, but actually it turns out he's directly connected with the lives that he interacts with on a regular basis. Who'd have thought? But looking at this suit, you know, obviously they got a few things right. The purple and green scheme, the gloves, the boots,
very striking.
the hat itself, the over exaggerated ears, although those will shift from design to design.
Even the tone of the skin and everything there too.
Yeah.
Is it scales? Is it latex? Is it rubber? What is it? It keeps changing depending on who's drawing it. And it's even funnier too. This is a costume that Norman Osborn and other people put on top of clothes they're already wearing. But the Goblin wears very few clothes. He has like a ballerina's unitard, and he's a very naked villain, which has always been something slightly offsetting to me. Where it's like the Goblin woke up that morning and said, "Pants, never."
Never, no, unitard. What's interesting is also, though, he's naked, or at least he's showing a lot of skin, but none of it is skin. Like it's just more clothes.
Right? It's so weird, isn't it? And that Norman decided this and like, yep, that's what I'm going to do. And they've obviously changed the origin of his inspiration of why it's the Goblin and why he looks like that. But they've never given a good explanation as to like, but why no pants though?
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, that's the design we're going for. Obviously, he also has the whole like signature pumpkin bomb thing, but that's not necessarily a costume. It's more just like, you know, his weaponry.
I would say the gear is part of the costume because it also shifts and changes over time. Like you said, from the broom to the glider that would become so iconic, every other Goblin has to have some variation of the glider.
That's true. Yeah, the Goblin must fly, but not of his own volition. He needs aid. It has to be an instrument that he flies around on. Whether that and both of them have any of the things he flies on, as long as it's not his own propulsion, have to be just massive plumes of toxic smoke.
Yep. Sometimes the gloves shoot lasers. Sometimes they don't. Again, you mentioned the plumes of smoke and everything. Sometimes it's special Goblin gas that affects Spider-Man's spider sense, and sometimes he won't use that for decades at a time. In the newest Zeb Wells issue, he pulled it out again. I'm like, why did you stop using that stuff?
Right? He also, in one of his other appearances, incorporated, you know, he has razor bats and pumpkin bombs. At one point, he also incorporated ghosts. Just to complete the Halloween theme. And I was like, yeah, I guess I could go with ghosts, but you are dangerously close to Count Chocula territory. But yeah, I don't know if I could call this an S tier yet, because it has room for improvement.
And it will be. There is room for iteration here. I would probably even call this one a C. I would say this is middle of the road.
Wow, middle of the road. Okay.
You got to give a credit for being the first, but even then it's like they can do better and they will do better.
It's true, but I don't know. I mean, it needs its flowers. It needs to be at least a B because it's the template. You wouldn't even know he was green without this suit. Like he wouldn't even start with the green. The scale mail, the green, the purple accents, the hat, the it's all there. It's just they make their changes, you know.
It needs to be iterated. And in fairness, too, I guess I will say, they don't iterate that far. Much like the Joker, you kind of got it the first time, and then it's really just small alterations from there.
Right? That's right. That's right. So you got that. You got the original Goblin design from Ditko. But then I think that really the where it actually gets good is when John Romita Sr. takes over. Because John Romita Sr. takes that design and then essentially just refines it. No sweeping crazy changes, no drastic alterations. We'll see those later on. But but when it comes to Green Goblin and John Romita, he's just like, don't fix when he broke. You know what I mean?
Which is very much their approach to Spider-Man as well, too. That both he and Green Goblin have basically been, you know, preserved in amber for a very long time.
Yeah, that's fair. John Romita Sr.'s version of the Goblin, I'm going to use it in this this fun little like wall sign that you can pick up on eBay, I'm sure. But
I like it.
You can see we shortened the hat a little bit. We we gave his outfit a little bit more weight. We gave him a little bit more weight, a little bit more musculature.
Yeah.
But otherwise, not too drastically changed. Obviously the broomstick went to a glider, but that's kind of it. I mean,
the scales are more pronounced in this. Also, the shade of purple on the costume will change a bunch too. Sometimes it's nuclear grape, sometimes it's a darker shade, but this is kind of the shade that definitely lives in my mind. Also, another thing too, the size of the eyes will also change a lot over time. Sometimes they are quite bulbous, sometimes they're normal. This is bulbous.
Oh, absolutely. The funny thing is also, we forgot to mention the man purse, which has always been there.
It's a satchel bag, sir. No, it's a purse.
If you ask Pete, it's a purse. But
no pants in a purse.
Honestly, hasn't changed drastically from there to there. I mean, I don't think it would be fair to give this an A over the Ditko design because it's basically the exact same design. It's really more of an aesthetic choice. Like, do you love it outside of, outside of the context of like, oh, I just like Green Goblin, or I have particular tastes and I like, Ditko's or Romita's over each other,
True.
So I don't know. What do you think?
I would say like a B+.
B+. Yeah, I think that's fair.
Because again, it's the one we had before, just a little bit more of it.
There we go. So it's still a B. We're still working on it. But then you had your like A tier. Like, what was your your definitive goblin? You had a definitive goblin, right?
Pardon?
Where you were like, this is what he looks like. This is what everyone else will go for from now on.
Right. So I went with like the classic design, which again is subjective for sure. But this is the one that lives in my head. I don't even know where that image is from, actually. But it's the one. Either. It's the one that, like, when you Google Green Goblin, it's the first one that shows up. I'm like, that's the one. I'm sure it's from like a trading card or something, because isn't everything we love from a trading card or the back of an action figure or something?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things to note about the version that everyone knows, or the one that people think of. For one thing, smaller eyes. For another, maniacal smile. The Joker smile has been really incorporated into it. They figured it out, exactly.
He's all teeth. The pumpkin bombs are bigger and very exaggerated. The glider has kind of, coalesced into more of a thing. The stance, even too. He's figured out the stance.
Yeah. He. Although I loved the classic look of, like, I want to say Romita's Goblin, where the wings like supported his weight, so when he was on it, like, they descended and he kind of like hunched on it like a gargoyle. That was kind of fun. But I do like that. But the sturdy, flat goblin glider that doesn't move, that will inevitably impale him. That's the one I think of. So yeah, this is, I think, A. Like, this is what you think of if you like, especially when they deviate, like when they make another version of Green Goblin or give him another suit. Yeah. And then they give him, and then they bring back the old suit. This is the one they bring back, and it's what we want to see.
That's the one that lives in infamy, lives in my mind. And goddamn, I wish if I had more time to research, I'd be like, yeah, where is that image from, actually? Because it's always the first thing. I think it's on the Marvel Wiki, too. I think that's the picture they go with on the official Wiki.
It is indeed.
So that's the one even the company likes.
Exactly. I wanted to also mention one other design, and it's very similar. It's basically the same exact design, but John Romita Jr. took over when Norman Osborn returned. And that was that's the one with the ghosts and stuff. It's basically the same exact thing, especially because they want you to think of the exact same thing. But it's like, there's something about it that I loved. But it's exactly the same as the other guys. It's just that John Romita Jr. gave it another shot. But it takes all the things you like about the other Goblin, but brought back to its classic look. So I mean, like, it wouldn't be fair to say that it's anywhere better than the Ditko senior designs. So let's go with just the same exact ranking. But I do love the inclusion of the ghosts. Those ghosts are so funny.
And some artists can really make suits sing, by adding their own little flourishes to it, and that lives, with them.
Exactly. By the way, this is what Romita Jr. did with the classic Goblin design. Retreated from the yellow for the eyes.
Yes, he did.
Changed the purse to a more of a satchel, gave it more of a
is.
brown look to it, which, you know, obviously helped
Very European.
butch up the goblin. But also, you know, it works. I like the brown. It stands against it. It looks more like an accoutrement as opposed to like an extension of his tunic.
Less scaly, too.
Less scaly, yeah. But he puts more cross-hatching in where scales would have been.
Right. Which,
to
again,
create
artistic flourish, yeah.
Exactly. But that might be more of the inker. But yeah.
Hat's longer, too, again.
Back to longer hat. Yeah, which I'm not... I don't love the long hat.
I can understand it from an artist's point of view. It's like, well, again, I can create motion, you know, when he's flying super fast because the hat's all the way back.
That's true. That's how you know he's going really fast. With that. There's also the Sal Buscema design from the Spectacular era when Harry became the Goblin.
Yes, again, and Harry had a couple different... There was one I couldn't find that I was dying to find, where it's Harry, but he has, like, chainmail on the shoulders and the knees. I found the picture once, then was never able to find it again. It might have only been in, like, 1 or 2 issues.
Interesting.
It was very short-lived.
Yeah, the one that I think of every time is just the classic image from Spider-Man Spectacular 200. I mean, it's basically just Green Goblin again. Again, purple purse. You know, although this is the Goblin glider I think of every time with this like kind of implied head, but it's all very sleek. Like it looks very homemade.
Agreed. And keeping it too, you know, with like the great storytelling potential of the Green Goblin, the costume staying the same helps with the mystery because a lot of the time you don't know who's under the Green Goblin. It could be several people.
That's true. Yeah, I do. I love the that element of the Green Goblin, although also the element of just like, but we all know it's going to be an Osborn, or at least it should be one way or another. There's going to be an Osborn in there. But again, you know, it's so nuanced. I don't think we can even rank it. You know, otherwise we're just exercising redundancies. Same with like Barton Hamilton's version of the Green Goblin. It's just he took Norman's suit and put it on. Like,
pretty much. I mean, hell, the Hobgoblins will experiment more with looks, actually.
Yeah, one of my favorite Goblin looks of all time is Hobgoblin. But,
you'll get an episode for sure.
Absolutely, yeah. Where should we go from here? I mean, like those are kind of the classic Goblins. Those are the Goblins that you expect.
Good baseline.
Yeah. Well, there's also multimedia, like. What cartoons were doing with Gobby during this period? Like when Goblin was either dead or dying.
Right.
Like, for example, the Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends version of the Green Goblin, which is basically like an uglier version of the suit. Like it's the same crap. The other thing I should point out, smaller ears for the later versions.
That's right. Yes, they're not nearly as prominent.
Yeah, they shrunk down the ears.
Which is good, I guess.
Oh, I agree. Oh, definitely.
He's going to get him caught and stuff.
Exactly. They're they're also just ridiculous. You're opening yourself to criticism that you just don't want. There's just no reason for it.
Are you compensating for something there, Norman? With these big distended ears?
Yeah. See, Harry, you know, that's something that Norman can never take away from Harry, is that Harry never needed giant ears.
No.
But what the hell? I'll rank it anyway. So here we go. This is Harry. We're putting him in the same. I think we're going to put him over here because it's basically the same thing as this.
Just slightly, you know, improved.
Really edged out. Yeah.
It's smaller, but they're hammering it out in the best way.
Exactly. But yeah, so that Spider-Man His Amazing Friends Green Goblin. Oh my God.
Yep.
You know, it's just they're using different like muted color patterns. It's not,
which was kind of what the show did.
Yeah, I'm not wild about it.
I will say though that version of it at least was much closer to the comic incarnation of the Green Goblin than the '60s Spider-Man show, where that Green Goblin was weirdly obsessed with magic and not science.
Oh, they just didn't understand. Like, they didn't read the goddamn comic book. So.
No, and he was a late addition into the show, too. Like, oh, you're doing a Spider-Man show, so obviously you're going to start with Green Goblin. No, actually, he's going to come fairly late.
Yeah. It's... Well, in both versions, they were like, I don't know. How about this? If you're wondering what we're talking about, this is what the 67 Green Goblin looked like.
Yeah, again, it was also really hard to find a version of him where he's not off model.
Yeah, he's also I assume it's just the limitations of the color. They couldn't really go with like a full ass purple, so it's more like just a weird red.
Yeah, or almost like an off pink.
Exactly. I'm not a big fan.
No, it's a pretty bad version. I think we can all
It's a pretty
agree.
bad version. Here's another one, just so you know what we're talking about when we're thinking of Green Goblin.
Yeah, look at that guy.
It's
He
just a
loves
mess. It's like, and also without any of the shade. Like, okay, so people are wondering, like, why would they keep the shading, or what's up with the scale mail? This is the result. He looks like a naked green man. And
yes, he does. Which is
that's
scary in its own right, but
yeah, that's a hard no from me. I don't like it. Because without that shading, it just looks like flesh. And I'm like,
it's distressing to look at.
I hate it. I'm going D.
I agree.
I just can't. So that's the 67 Green Goblin.
Big D for this one.
The big D for the big G. But then they made the 80s, like, you know, Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, the other animated series from 81. A little more accurate.
It's an improvement.
A little more menacing.
Yeah.
You know, it's a little better. They also, and this is something that we rarely got into at all, was the fangs, like the veneers that he wears over his regular people teeth.
Yeah, sometimes they're
or is it part of the mask?
Right, everything about the Green Goblin is so confusing and does your head in when you really think about it. Where it's like, so he's a man who wears a goblin suit, and the suit looks like skin and acts like skin for all intents and purposes,
right? Yeah. The 80s version, he's got the scales back. They're implied. They're few and far between, but they're enough. They're enough to do it, to do the job. He doesn't look like a naked goblin anymore.
Yeah.
They also give more menacing shadows around his eyes, and for the most part, they ratchet up the purple. They're like, all right, even if it's burgundy, it's still better than nothing.
Yeah.
It's a little bit better, but not by much. I'm still gonna go maybe C, but that's not.
Yeah,
that's
it's
not
right above the one we had.
Exactly, and even then, like that's very charitable. I think it's which we really don't need. But
isn't he like only in that one episode? I don't think he was in many more.
He's not in a lot. He's in the the other thing is he's in the opening crawl. He's in the opening theme of Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. Firestar just immolates him, just burns him alive. But here we go. We're gonna make it a C. It's a little bit. It's an improvement. We got to at least acknowledge when they do something right.
Indeed.
But yeah. And then there's more. There's so much more. There's so many different gobbies. There's another animated series we could talk about, which I also am a big fan of. And this might be one of my favorite versions of multimedia Green Goblin. And that is Spider-Man from the 90s, the 94 Spider-Man animated series. Which, by the way, if we could talk about this for just 2 seconds, I saw that John Semper confirmed, but there was a statement from Disney about like Spider-Man 97 versus, after X-Men. There's no plans, none whatsoever, to develop because they're working on the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man cartoon, which is of course a reskin or rename of their Spider-Man freshman year series.
Yes, and they've already sunk a bunch of time and money and development in it, and I know because I follow the showrunner, and obviously they've probably had to go back to the drawing board, like, it's in continuity, it's not continuity, maybe it is, we don't know, we're figuring it out, look, we got to put this out at some point.
Yep. That's that was a real big kick in the nuts, hearing that they're not even entertaining the idea. So, okay.
Now, don't get me wrong. I'm very excited for that Spider-Man show they're working on because it's from the Craig of the Creek guy, and I love his work and everything, and I know he seemed passionate about it, and it seems like they jerked him around for a couple years as well.
That's very true. That's very true. Though I am also like, John, I appreciate your love and affinity for the show that you made, but it's over.
Gotta let it go.
But his Green Goblin is fantastic. This is
it is.
This is S tier for me. I love it. They also every time they did a Goblin episode, they gave it to the A animation team.
Yeah, they did. He was emoting and he was all over the place with his face. I loved it.
Yeah, and they always gave him good shading and lighting, and it takes all the things you like and remember about Green Goblin. He's got the hat. It's pretty long, but it's never phallic or ridiculous.
Not too long.
He's got the beady pupils in his eyes, but they're yellow. He's definitely a cartoon goblin, but also you might believe that it's a suit.
Yes, 100%. And again, the voice I love too, Norman, Norman.
Yeah, that
I
performance,
still hear
but
it.
still phenomenal. It's a perfect version of Green Goblin. Even if he came after the Hobgoblin, which is just because of
Weird, but
logistics. It's not their fault, but love it. And I think because of the suit and how they designed it and worked with what they had from before, I wouldn't hesitate to call it an S, but what do you think?
I mean, yeah, I would agree for you. Again, this is one that lives in my heart and my mind. I still read it in that voice a lot of the time. And he had basically all the gimmicks and accoutrement too. He had the laser gloves. He had the glider with all the things. He had the pumpkin bomb. So it's a pretty damn good distillation of everything that came before.
I agree. So, all right, our first S. Where do you want to go from here? What versions of the Green Goblin? Oh, I should point. There's one more I want to use that I want to toss out, and then I'm going to basically just give the show to Joel. But
oh no.
But Alex Ross did a design for Green Goblin that, of course, we saw in Marvel's, and in his there's a big life-sized Green Goblin bust of Green Goblin that is just it's based off his design. And it's something I've always wanted. It's just so great. But it has a very distinct quality to it that is completely different and unique from all the other versions of Green Goblin. And it's the eyes.
Yes, they are clearly glasses. You can clearly see his human eyes behind them. And oh boy, would this end up being a weird inspiration for the Willem Dafoe movie.
Exactly. In every other respect, he keeps pretty much everything the way it is, right? He keeps the scales, he keeps the purse, but the purse is brown. He's got a longish hat, but it's more realistic in its portrayal. He's got giant ears, and I think that the teeth are his teeth. I think that's Norman's mouth,
right?
But the mask does adhere immediately to his face.
The hat is also part of the mask and not just a hat he's wearing, because sometimes it is just a hat.
It's true. Yeah, he has a cowl that's attached to the mask clearly because it's not a face. And I assume it's like one of those like balls with a tassel that fly that you can throw. It's more like a windsock than it is a hat. It's so you know which direction he's coming in. But yeah, I think it's fantastic. As a kid, I didn't love that you could see his eyes, but I like the thought and planning that goes into it. Also, there's also a little bit of an homage to maybe the 80s version with those the eyelashes around the eyes to sink them back and to give that darkness around the edges of his eye.
Yeah, I never considered that.
There's something really cool here. I'd say it's at least a B, if not an A. What do you think?
Yeah, I'd agree with that too. This is also one of those instances where it's like, I like it when Alex Ross does it.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't want one.
I'd probably hate it if anyone else did it, and I don't want to see any other style but this.
Yeah, it is distinctly Alex Ross's. If it's ever done by anybody else's, it's not going to work. For that, we'll give it a B.
Yeah, I think that's very fair.
Not versatile enough, but it's still fantastic. It's just worth mentioning.
Absolutely.
So where do you want to go from here, man?
Oh, that's a very good question. Here, let me look at that, guys. We got. So I think I got like 25 of these all together. Do we want to do Miller and Dodson from Marvel Knights? Because that's probably like one of the biggest departures.
Oh, absolutely. That was a big one. I remember when they made that change, just and with no pomp and circumstance, no fanfare.
They just did it.
They do it just like, oh, here, this is what he looks like now, and we're not even going to explain where it came from outside of maybe a mild discussion of Norman Osborn souped up all the heroes, and I guess also himself.
And it came and went too, because it's only in this story, right, and a few other things around the same time.
Yeah, the closest thing I can think of to it is the Ramos design, which is also because they really went for this weird kind of Knights medieval D&D role playing version of Green Goblin.
Yeah,
but this is the Miller and Dodson version. So it's cool, but I don't even know where it's going.
No.
I get Goblin because he's wearing a mask and he's got the hat and he's throwing pumpkin bombs, but everything from the neck down is just unreplicatable.
Right. And again, it's like he's wearing more clothes now than he ever has. He's decided, you know what, pants. It's a new era. Marvel Knights is darker and grittier. I need to protect my junk from the grit with some pants.
right?
More black than purple. But the thing that really throws me off about this, they've changed the shade of green around his face now to where it's also darker. There's less green in this Green Goblin than there's ever been before.
Yeah, yeah, and I think there's a reason for that. I think it might actually have something to do with modern coloring. I think it's that they were like, "Oh, wow, like, we could never really achieve nuances of green, so how about we, like, play with it? How about we really, like, soup up the modern coloring?" That suit, by the way, he's gonna trash that suit in the first, like, couple of pages of that arc, and then he's gonna come back and have another version of the suit that's a lot more like that movie.
Yeah, wow, tell me about it. And again, yeah, that suit didn't have much shelf life beyond this one story, but actually, as I stopped and think about it, I think he wears something similar to that in, like, one of the Ultimate Alliances, I think, like, the second one, because that's kind of what he was wearing around that era. I enjoy the experimentation, but I would say neither of these two were really masterpieces, and I see why they only live in those stories.
I agree. Yeah, the medieval armor thing is a choice, and I think I like that it remains from whence it came. I'm glad that it's a period. Like, it's just like he chose to do that. Not too far from when Doc Ock saw The Matrix and thought, me too.
Trench coats are cool.
Yeah, trench coats and little red sunglasses, and I'm gonna cover up my face like I'm in a Bazooka Joe comic. You just but we're not here to make fun of Doc Ock. He has purple gloves, but it's just not enough.
That's a better look at him here again, I would say.
Yeah.
This one, because you get the glider, you get everything else. It's like it could be iterated on, and they never iterated on it. I think there could be a nice compromise between this and the versions we know and love. And again, Ultimate Alliance too. I think he cut off the sleeves. Basically, he turned everything into cutoffs.
Yeah,
which wasn't too bad at all. Again, it's I made fun of Goblin before for being one of the most naked supervillains ever, but it's almost more disconcerting when he puts on more clothes. Modesty Goblin.
Right. Well, especially when you know that it's like those are clothes over your regular clothes. You're still wearing you're wearing like 3 times the clothes, you weirdo. Yeah, it's a choice. I understand it, but it's not peak. What do you want to give it?
I mean, C, because it's like at least they tried something different with it, which is we're gonna see they don't do that all the often with Green Goblin. So at least there was an attempt to be like, nope, this is going to be an iconic new version of the Green Goblin for this sure to be iconic story that will live forever.
Right. Yeah, I assume that they were just. It's one of those things where no one who worked there had was precious with any of the things that they were making.
No,
they were just kind of like,
which sometimes you need to be.
You do. You need to have like this kind of fearlessness when it comes to publishing, but don't forget you're also stewards of these characters. So I mean,
absolutely.
I admire the effort, but it's not really. It doesn't say Goblin to me.
No, it's again if you told me that was a completely different villain, oh, that's the Topaz Troll, I'd be like, yep, that's who that is.
Yeah, he could be other things. Like it's very medieval. It's very Dungeons and Dragons inspired, which I understand the impulse for a goblin who wields fire, but there's more to this character than just that.
So should we? I was going to say, after that, should we poke our head into the Ultimate Universe? Because there are now quite a few different Ultimate versions of Green Goblin.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, I think we should definitely do that. The Ultimate Green Goblin was, of course, they came up with like a bunch of different versions of him. Not the cartoon. We're talking about just the Ultimate Comics version of Green Goblin. Yeah, he's had at least a couple of different, well, I'd say 2 looks. There's 2 looks that everybody thinks of when they think of what the Green Goblin was in the Ultimate Universe. There's the first one where they were like, I don't think I buy Norman doing all of that. And then the other one where Norman just doesn't. And of course, so when Green Goblin first shows up in the Ultimate Universe, he looks like this.
Big cape. The gloves are gone, and now we have friggin' bracers, which will happen a couple more times, but that's probably one of the big... He's jacked as hell because he's not a guy wearing a costume now. He's a big monster. He's got, again, a very fantasy-inspired belt. We honor the purple, but now it's a big shredded cape, and also not the first or last time they'll do that either.
Yeah. This doesn't say Green Goblin to me at all. I think that I get it. Like, when he first showed up, he's Green Goblin. But I don't see him maintaining it. And I think that if he did, it would be forced. It is an attempt, like, he has a hat, so we'll just add it to a shroud that's attached to the cape that's really just shredded clothing, because even the belt itself is, like, clearly everything, his bracers, his belt, his cape, they're all pieces of something else. They're part of something that he had worn before that is now part of the costume, but he can't maintain that every time. It's very Hulk. I mean, obviously, from his bigness to the convenience of purple being incorporated into his everyday outfits.
And I can see why the artist didn't want to keep up with that, because they're like, no, that's going to be a nightmare to draw every time. You see how many moving pieces are here?
Yeah, that's true. Although Bagley, I'm sure Bagley had a lot to say and do with that design, because he wanted to have movement and motion. I cite every symbiote that he ever worked with afterwards, because he sure loves symbiotes, and he really wanted to convey motion with them. But yeah, this Hulk Goblin, I don't know. What do you think?
Again, I really liked it when it appeared, and I thought it was super cool, but it also didn't stick around, is the thing. So clearly, it had no staying power, and if I was to show this to people like, that's the ultimate Green Goblin, they'd be like, no, it's not.
Yeah,
because no, it's not the one. Because it's not the one that stuck. So, I mean, I guess a C also, too, I guess, is where you have
I think
to go.
C is fair. I think that's a fair assessment. And then they switched it up and made him more Hulk-like, because he's green and big. So what are you going to do? And also, Green Goblin is purple. And this is where we find out that, or at least we recognize largely, that a lot of Marvel characters / villains are purple and green themed.
They sure are.
Oops. So what do we do with this? Because, like, now, Green Goblin is purple and green, but we want to scale him back, and we want to not overdo it. So we want to make it much more simple and easy to accomplish. But once you make him big and green with purple, he's the Hulk.
He sure is. Also, no pumpkin bombs. Now he just throws fire.
He just throws fire, which, fine. You know what? I don't know if I'm okay with... I don't want to have that. I don't want to have, like, him approximate pumpkin bombs.
Yeah, it's the ultimate universe. We're doing stuff different. We're trying to streamline everything. Okay.
Yeah. This will also be his look. Like, this is what Green Goblin looks like in the Ultimate Universe and in the Ultimate Cartoon Show as well.
Yeah, and even up to the last time we saw him in the comics in the Solid in a Mid Miles run, when he showed up again, he looked like this.
That's right. I mean, it stuck, but you won't convince me he doesn't look like Abomination.
He really, again, with this, it's the spines. It's the spines that does it. Again, if you wanted to make him a monster, that's one thing, but making him a giant hulking monster, I think, is where you went right. He should have been like a goblin. He should have been slight and wiry, is what he should have been.
Yeah, I kind of like that idea of, like, thinning him down. That would have been a good idea. Yeah.
Of course, then you run into a problem, too, where it's like, hey, but then isn't he just Jackal at that point? And there's definitely some versions later where I'm like, oh, he totally stole Jackal's fit.
Yeah, but screw the Jackal. He's a third-rate villain anyway. I guess I would say C. What do you think?
Yeah, let's put that one in C2 with its twin. It can live there. Where it's like, you changed it, but it was a little bit of a lateral change.
Yeah, exactly. A lateral change. Before we continue, I think we should at least address a couple of the super chats in the room. Because
let's.
Quite a few people have been generous enough to share their thoughts and opinions and their cash. Sounds so good. Here we go. Hulkzilla says, tier lists, woo! My favorite Green Goblin design is Mike Deodato Jr.'s Thunderbolts Green Goblin. Love the armor like depiction. Have a great weekend. Oh, yes. You've tapped into something very true.
Don't worry. We didn't forget that one.
No. Cat Lawyer, goblins, a.k.a. natural predators of spiders in the wild. That's true. Yes. Just like my favorite dinosaur, the dragon.
Yeah.
Denial, all this Halloween theming from Goblin. Why the hell do we have Hallows Eve again?
Right.
Because I think it's because, like, we've attempted very poorly to make female goblins, and it just doesn't work.
It's, you know what it is? Again, to give credit to Roderick Kingsley, the Hobgoblin was such a good, spin-off character that was so great, so well received, part of such a legendary story, that they had to keep doing it every 5 to 8 years. But what if we tried again? What if we tried again with another guy? Because the first time we did it, we created a whole other great character with a whole other legacy unto himself. What if we did it again? I know we failed the last couple times, but I got a good feeling this time. And the fact that they did Hallows Eve so close to Queen God, it's like you did it twice back to back.
Yeah, you did it twice in the same breath. What a weird decision. What's frustrating is I do love what Hallows Eve looks like.
Oh, it's amazing. It's an amazing look.
She looks great, except for the terrible masks, because I think that power set is dumb.
Oh, but they totally came up with the drawing and the name first and worked backwards for powers.
Yeah. She's just female Hobgoblin.
100%.
Like, that's why I like her.
And they hadn't done that yet, so like they should have just made her female Hobgoblin.
Yeah, it's not like there were a bunch of Hobgoblins running around. You know, like we could just have her be Hobgoblin and be done with it.
Shit, even Kingsley doesn't want to be Hobgoblin half the time. He has to get brainwashed and Winkler devised by Queen Goblin to be Hobgoblin again.
It's true, but to bring up the point of denial, like she is the Halloween villain. But also, she's clearly a goblin. She has purses and flies and has the hat.
All the accoutrement.
Yeah, it's like the pumpkins. She is... I don't know. She's diminishing other goblins and herself by existing. It's weird. It's a shame. And it's also not fair because the female character, and I hate when that happens because it's not her fault.
No, again, and that's the thing that really stuck in my craw. Janine was a great character in that Beyond saga where she was like the anchor holding Ben down and she was seeing everything that he couldn't, and she really tried to help and really tried to be a team player and everything. And that's what they got. It's like, well, let's make her a villain for no reason. No, but she was good though.
Yeah, but she was cool. Yeah, but I don't want to like people, if they see, and the weird thing is if you see her, you're going to be asking where the hell Ben is. Dion Z, my favorite's got to be Zeppy Camuncoli's version that we see in Superior Spider-Man. Can't wait for the Turn Off the Dark discussion. It's bloody horrendous. Agreed.
Yes, that is a good version. I was sure to include that because it does just enough differently, as we'll get to.
Yeah. Cora Valentine, hey, y'all, going to go into a con to meet Chris Priest. Well, enjoy. Nice. Don't call him Chris. Call him Christopher or Priest, but not Chris. He doesn't like
Yes, he's very sure about using his whole name and everything.
Exactly. But have a wonderful time, and let him know I said hi. Nick Smith says, I think only one to like good guy Norman and his storyline, and kind of sad he's evil again. At least separate the two like they did with Kurt and the Lizard.
I was totally team good team Osborn. Yeah, I thought they did some great
work. Good guy Norman, yes.
Yeah, good guy Norman. From Gold, like there's so much wrong with modern Spider-Man. That whole arc from like the end of the Spencer run to Gold Goblin to even quite a few of the Zeb Wells issues were really solid. And again, that last issue 50, is maybe one of the best Zeb Wells issues he ever did by actually letting Spider-Man and Peter be kind of petty, but also be a guy who planned for the future and actually looks like he's been here before. When Peter says to Norman, yeah, I never believed in you. Despite what I said, I never believed in you. I'm like, that hits like a ton of bricks because Norman's like, but I did this for you. I took the sins back so you didn't have to suffer because I thought we were good. I thought, we had really forged this new relationship. Peter, no, I always knew you were going to fall off the wagon and reoffend. I didn't trust you. That's why I took a job here. I'm like, oh, that's a special kind of Peter we don't see. That's the Peter who lets 1 or 2 villains a year die. Is that Peter? Yeah. And I'm like, damn it, Wells, why wasn't your whole run like this, actually? Where it's like, no, Spider-Man, I can be an asshole sometimes.
Yeah.
But you're a worse asshole.
That is what Zeb Wells is tapping into, is that, like, Peter's a jerk. And I assume that Zeb just can't do what he wants to do most of the time.
Yeah.
But even then, the thing is, for me, I don't want what he's doing.
No, but in that one moment, it worked. In that one moment, I'm like, oh, this is what you were trying to do on the book. Okay.
Right.
Man, I would have liked to have seen this version of where it's like, yes, Peter's got a little bit of an edge to him. And again, because they tied up in this whole thing with Norman, where it's like, no, I'm like an addict who fell off the wagon. I'm like your uncle who keeps coming back and be like, no, I promise I'll be good this time. No, I promise I'm clean. It's like, no, you're not. But I have to say I believe in you. I have to do this song and dance.
Exactly. Logan Thomas, I really like how Ross did the eyes in his design. I wish they incorporated more of the in the Raimi movies instead of all green. Yeah, I like that too. You know, it's interesting, and they've said this in the commentary and stuff like that, but they didn't know what color Green Goblin's eyes were going to be in the movie because, of course, like most of them were CG. And they shot the like Aunt May in the hospital when she says those horrible yellow eyes scene before they had the finalized version of Green Goblin. That's how far into production they were. Yeah, they weren't actually done designing Green Goblin, but in the script she says those horrible yellow eyes, and they're like, do we make her do another take without the yellow eyes part? But without the yellow eyes, Peter won't know definitively it's Green Goblin, but we don't know the Green Goblin has yellow eyes yet when we're designing him. Oh my God, I guess. And it was Rosemary Harris's delivery and her saying that line. Well, and her selling it made them go like, I guess he's got yellow eyes. Like we have to go with that.
True.
Heartless Fang in the 94 Spider-Man cartoon showed Mark Hamill was Hobgoblin, and whenever he'd laugh, he'd almost do Joker laugh, and it really upset me that he didn't.
So close.
I'm glad he didn't, because he's like, no, Joker's over there. I have a great affinity for Joker. They clearly hired me to be Joker on Spider-Man, which I'm not going to do. And I'm like, good for you.
Yeah, he's got more of like a wise guy thing to him as Hobgoblin. Hey.
Exactly. Yeah, I love that. Bryce Harriet, hello. I love the shows. Thanks a lot, Bryce. Goblin Venom War when? I don't know.
Shocked they've never done it. They're going to do a Venom War event soon. Didn't they announce that's going to be a thing?
Yep,
with
Venom War's coming.
Eddie, his kid, and Black Widow, who I guess is also a symbiote at the moment.
Naturally. Cam, can we talk about the prosthetic?
Comics.
Oh, that sells. It sells. Can we talk about the prosthetic mask that didn't get used in the first Raimi movie?
Oh,
sure. Yeah, I wish they did, and they didn't. It's a shame.
I can see why it scared the hell out of them, though. I can see why they're like, I don't know if people are going to like this. I don't know if this is going to translate.
Yeah. The funny thing is, I remember vividly, you know, what goes around, like, it comes around, like, the mask test is on the special features for Spider-Man 2002. Like, you can just go see that. And as like a big nerdy kid, I definitely did. Like, I always check the special features. And so in like 2002, I remember when that was a thing. And I was upset even then that they didn't do it. And they explained it in there. And I love how like TikTokers will talk about like, what a mystery it is that they didn't use this. They basically were like, it's unrealistic that Norman would have this mask lying around.
Right.
Or that he would be able to apply it quickly and expediently
all the time. Yeah.
And I'm like, that is such horseshit, because he does it in the comic books all the time. You just have him have it, and then you cut and he's wearing it, and he's doing this, you know, like you do with the Spider-Man mask in every single shot where Toby's always just about to finish putting his mask on. When he puts it on, it doesn't fit right because it's fitted. You fools. Frustratingly, by the way, this is amazing looking and would have friggin' killed it. The other part was Willem Dafoe's face. We're paying for the actor. We can't lose it. But it's so accurate.
Which, in Dafoe's defense, amazing facial actor, which will only get better by the time we get to No Road Home and everything, where they try and split the difference between the old suit and he's got the purple hood and everything, and just, I don't need a mask. My face is crazy and goblin-y enough.
Very true. But I am really, really sad we never got this, especially when you see it in action. It's amazing looking.
What could have been. Also, I never put it on the list here because it's a fan film and everything, and a pretty embarrassing fan film too. That Spider-Man Lotus they did with their attempt at Green Goblin, which I only bring up because I remember Wishmaster.
Yeah. So yeah, that's that. Tevia says, my favorite is Normie Green Goblin. What a shock. And Lenny Laserdiscs, my favorite Green Goblin design is from Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2, at least. My least favorite is the Amazing Spider-Man 2 design. So gross. Yeah. We'll talk about that as well.
Yeah, where it's like, Jesus Christ, did they put some bath salts in your Green Goblin formula?
What a weird decision. That whole movie is, what a weird decision.
Decision from top to bottom.
I guess we should talk about Willem Dafoe's first Green Goblin movie suit. I remember them making fun of it immediately.
For years.
No one liked it. Yeah, no one liked it when it first came out.
He looks like a Power Ranger. I like Power Rangers.
Well, I was like, what do you want them to do? like, what's your better idea? You know, and it's like, well, the better idea was to use that awesome prosthetic mask that mirrors his face and movements, but they weren't going to do that, and so I guess they did this. And you know what? Like, they also needed it to make sense in the world. You know, like, it's a flight suit. It's just also green, or maybe we were going to change it to red, white, and blue when we sold it to the military. I don't know, but I don't love it. I never really loved it.
I never hated it.
It's fine. It does the job. I was like, well, he's here to die, so it's not like it's going to be forever.
Right. Clearly, they're going to iterate on it in later movies, right? And they did, but not in a good way.
Yeah, I don't know if
they made it worse.
We can't even call James Franco's Goblin a Green Goblin. Like, he looks like he's going to a paintball match. Like,
he's Surf Ninja.
Yeah, there's nothing there. But Norman's suit, like, I mean, if you use good lighting and shots and stuff like that, you get some cool effects.
And they did.
You know, it's very green. They need to break it up a little bit. There's a lot of green.
Like, he couldn't have put any purple. He couldn't have had the shawl and the hood that he would eventually have later.
So I remember vividly, he does have purple in the head. Like, that simulates the hat.
Right.
Like, there's a little bit of, like, it like blends from green to purple at the tip for no reason. Like, what's the practical what's the idea there, Norman?
And seeing his eyes and seeing his mouth is a little weird and off-putting.
I never liked it, but I also every time that you hear some costume designer or some actor go, like, you got to see the actor's eyes. The eyes are the windows to the soul. Shut up.
Yeah, as a lifelong comic reader, no, I don't.
Yeah, what a boring and uninteresting and obvious, like, thing to say that has its time has come and gone.
And no shade on Defoe's performance. I think I like it too because Defoe is just acting his ass off in it. Like, he truly commits to the part, which elevates it a little bit. Where it's like, look, I can't say it's the worst.
Yeah, well, Defoe is like, I took this job, I want this job, I'm doing this job, but also, like, I'm put into these limitations. Let's see what I can do with it.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, cool. Like, good for you. And Defoe makes the suit because it's not about the suit.
And the fact that he got to come back again all those years later, do it again. Yeah, and be like, I'm just as good, if not better. Shit, I can hang with all these MCU villains, man.
I know. What a shame. What a shame. I wanted that. The suit is average at best.
Yeah.
What do you say?
I think I like it a little more than you. I would give it a plus to wherever you put it, but I also know that, you know, it's not a hill to die on to defend it. Maybe it's my own childhood nostalgia for Power Rangers. I mean, listen, you're not far off. Like, people, I mean, like, it would be, if this was 2012, it would be a D. Yeah. But if we make it a C, we're going to get a lot of hate. Probably. Because children are adults now and they're like, no! It was my childhood. It was Phantom Menace was actually really good. Weirdly, though, I think this suit ends up getting its flowers in a way we don't expect because the new Ultimate Spider-Man Green Goblin is clearly just an iterated version of this. I couldn't believe it when I saw it. But before we do that, we should also at least point out the other Green Goblin suit from No Way Home. We might, since it's the same guy and the same character, literally. We really should. You're right. It's the same suit with tattered purple and it's Willem Dafoe's face. Instant improvement. You've rescued the suit. You've done it. This is better than the other one. That fight scene they have is killer. Again, he's acting his ass off. We get to see so many sides of Norman in that movie. Oh, I'm a sad man. I'm, afflicted and everything. Goblin again. Gotcha. Yep, I'm untrustworthy. Yeah, get all your scenery away because it's all getting chewed. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, hope nobody wants to act against me because it's not going to happen. Nope. It's great. He's amazing. I mean, it's just Willem Dafoe. We all love Willem Dafoe. But as far as the suit's concerned, it's better than the other one, but also builds off of the other one. So sure does. That's kind of neat. So I'll give it. I'm going to put it in a B category as well. I'm going to say it's the same, just as good as the other one, if not better. I like it. Here we go. Right next to it.
Like it's a B because the other one should be a C. That's why.
Yeah, that's why. Don't get in the comments at me.
Exactly. What's the other? So where do you want to go from there?
Good question. Where haven't we gone? Hey, let's show some modern day Dan Slott some love too, because I think that's the last time they really tried to change it up. More specifically, like the King Goblin era. Yeah, that's a pretty good one. I'm talking about like even the ones like from Latter Day Superior, where like it was all scale all the way down.
Yeah, this suit has all the scale. I was amazed at the scales. I love it. I love the use of the scales. It must be a pain in the ass to draw.
Oh, probably.
But it's cool. And
it's sharp too. It's much sharper and angular. The nose is sharp. The teeth is sharp. The ears are sharp. It's basically the same costume, but with minor changes.
It's true. I like it. I wonder if that is Giuseppe's decision or if it's like
probably.
It's like this is my version of the same suit. Like for as far as Giuseppe Camuncoli is concerned, like it is, it's the same suit. I don't know, but it works. It works really well.
I would say as far as like modern Green Goblins go, that's the one that, defined that whole Slott run and Slott era. And it's the one that I think people really look to now, kind of as the base, but also not the one they brought back just recently this week in the Zeb Wells run. The Zeb Wells run kind of turned the clock back a little bit.
It's true. Yeah. Because this is the suit. And it's like, there's a lot. I see. It's a whole hat. It's got little like sideburn tassels, full scale mail, brown purse. But otherwise, it's basically just a classic Green Goblin suit. I think it works really well. I think it's at least A.
Agreed.
It's a great suit. Sharp. It works really well.
I would call that the sharp suit because everything about it is pointy.
It is. It looks rough. Like it looks like it would hurt you. It would hurt you.
as it probably should.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see. Who drew that? Was that God, what's his name? I don't remember. The new suit, like for new Green Goblin.
Oh yeah. Good question.
Oh well. Anyway, so we're gonna rank this suit here. Let me put it in there while we're thinking about that. Here we go. Sharp suit, at least an A, if not an S. I'll say
yes,
A.
definitely.
Yep, it's just classic. Works really well. Let's see here. Oh, I don't need this anymore. Oh, right. Amazing Spider-Man 50. We'll just look that up.
Yeah, because it just came out. You think I'd remember. I just did a video on it, but it's already gone from my brain.
Exactly. Also, phenomenal cover.
Very much so. Yeah, it's a good cover.
Nope. Because I have this. If you use Chrome, it like uses up all your RAM, and so I've on this streaming rig, I only use like Microsoft Edge, which I hate because even though I've made Google my default browser search, it switches to Bing every time.
Oh, don't you love that?
Which is just terrible.
We just think you really like Bing.
You know I don't, because no one likes Bing. But yeah, Ed McGuinness.
There you go. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, this is fantastic. I loved seeing this. I
really
hate everything that happened in this book, but there's a double-page splash in it that showed him returning to being Green Goblin, and it's awesome.
It really is. Also, tatters is the thing. The boots have this kind of cut-off effect to it. The unitard has cut-off effects on the sleeve, which I actually really appreciate. It's small, but I dig it because he should look a little disheveled. He's a goblin monster.
Exactly. And when you get closer into it, when you look a little deeper, he's got these approximations of Buccaneer boots, but those are also just like torn, tattered versions of them. It's like it's really cool. It's just a smart.
And he gets multiple huge splashes devoted to himself in this issue. This whole issue is just making love to the Green Goblin. Like, isn't it cool that he's back? Isn't he cool?
They really want you. Yeah. They're like, look, we want you to like be excited. We want you to know like this is happening, and that we look admire our restraint, please. And how we took forever to get to this, and now we're here and we're gonna live in it.
Which, in fairness, you guys did wait way longer than I thought you were going to where even the characters in the story admit, damn, wanted to draw that out a little longer. But hey, no time like the present.
Exactly. Here, I'm going to showcase that amazing Ed McGuinness splash. And this is from a person who was like, I don't really like Ed McGuinness as Spider-Man artist. I'm not really a big fan. This is just tops.
That's
look at how amazing that is. And if you're interested, like in looking at the suit, they have a literal scene where he just has the suit
back there.
There it is. Boom. You can see it. You know, you can actually make an itemized list of how it's different. It's got the tatters on the cuffs. It's got a brown belt. The tunic leaches over the shoulders. He kept the Dan slot like over the ears.
Yep.
Mask tatters. It's great.
It's a little longer and everything. The eyes are back to being much more bulbous and yellow.
Yep. And but keeping the full body scales.
Yes.
So that's pretty awesome. And when you see them in action, like those scales, like they sag in that image, but when they're on his body, he's more wiry and scary. This is cool.
It's really good. Again, maybe I'm just a rube, but I was really brought in by this. I'm like, yeah, you're right. The Green Goblin is cool. You're right.
Yeah.
I should do a whole episode about this.
Right, exactly. He's cool. This is great. This is like A to S tier for me.
Yeah.
I think it's fantastic. I mean, it is the art, but it's also like, it takes everything you know and love about Green Goblin, takes everything that works, and puts it straight on display.
And it's like actually one of the more effective story moments in an era where there's not a lot of effective story moments. So I almost want to give it extra credit because of that.
That's true. It's like, it's a real shame right now what's going on in Spider-Man and how it's a punishing book to read. But
at least we got Goblin.
But at least Gobby's back and he looks cool.
Yeah,
and he does. So yeah. You know what? Let's go. Let's not even be charitable. Let's be cool. It's an S tier. This is great looking.
They basically built the entire issue 50 around this, and it kind of
worked. Yeah, they sure did. Yeah, basically issue 50 is just look at Green Goblin for for as many pages as we can get.
I'm looking, and I agree.
Exactly.
I never believed in you, Norman.
Right? Oh, so good. Yeah. All right, come on. There we go. S tier. Boom.
Right on.
And then there's other versions we can get into, like Fortnite, which is just, it nails it. Like it's a weird version, but it still works. Like it does.
Isn't it weird, like, to compliment Fortnite, but like the fact that it has to be toyetic, the fact that it has to be simple and easily recognizable. And I feel this way with a lot of their skins. Where like, that's actually a really good version. Like, I know it's really easy to dogpile and shit talk Fortnite for being for like literal babies and everything, but like their art style, like that's the reason they're popular, because the art style is so effective at grabbing people. And their Green Goblin, not bad at all.
Yeah, he also is clearly like a hodgepodge of all the ideas. When you just like, you started with the movie suit, you gave him his like D&D armor from the comics, or his armor from the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon show. You gave him a Batman belt.
Yes, he's wearing chaps and straps.
Right, he's got the hard helmet, but like a windsock hat
behind it. Yeah,
it says Green Goblin. That's the thing.
Yes,
it screams Green Goblin, and it isn't afraid of its own color, which I think is
no, which Fortnite has never been, which is another thing too. They don't grim and gritty up anything.
Yeah, it works. I think it's like a B at least, if not an A.
Yeah, it's shockingly solid. When I was looking at video game versions, I'm like, that's not interesting. That's the same. Then I saw Fortnite. I'm like, oh, that's actually pretty cool. Shit.
Yeah, who'd have thought?
Yeah.
Let's throw him in there. Here we go. Boom. It's just a good looking suit. Works really well. Sorry, I was thrown off. Somebody just said, I just got here. What happened? Like, what happened? A show, man.
Just in general, what happened?
What happened? Like, nobody fell down, if that's what you're wondering. So some people really, really want us to talk about this guy, the Ultimate Alliance 2 Green Goblin.
Yes. Yeah.
Just desaturate Green Goblin. Zack Snyder's Green Goblin.
Little bit. Again, it's got a little of that Miller Dodson in there, but they cut it off. I do like the cutoff factor of it too. I like that he looks a little ragged.
It's true. Yeah. He works. He's got like actually it is essentially the Ed McGuinness current Green Goblin with some, I don't know, artichokes under his shoulder pads.
Right, it's supposed to be scale, but it looks like artichokes.
And he has no and desaturated.
Very.
It's cool. It works in that game.
Sure does, because it has a whole like artistic thing it's going for.
Exactly. It has its own style. That's fine.
Uniquely it.
Yeah. And
he wouldn't stay like that either, because by the time they do 3, he looks completely different.
Oh, yeah. No, they just throw that out. Well, 3 is just like, what was it, like 20 years since the last game?
I know.
So, yeah.
That's what made me get a Switch.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah, that was cool. This is a cool suit, I guess. I'll give it a B.
Sure.
Just put them in the pile with the rest of them.
Feels like a lot of people really like that one.
It's true. Crap. Somebody asked about a good one. I don't recall, but Lenny Laserdisc says, my favorite Green Goblin design is from Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2, and my least favorite is the Amazing. Oh yeah, that's right. He said that. Yeah, I'm sorry. That was the last super chat we got. Yeah, so gross. Oh yeah, since we talked about the movie one, we could talk about Amazing Spider-Man 2's design.
Yes, it is gross. It does.
Yeah.
Like a lot of that movie, and also comes out of freaking nowhere at the end. Don't forget me.
Yeah. I will forever.
Yeah, really.
You're lame, and this is dumb.
Be sure to stick around for the Sinister Six movie we're building up to. Nah.
You wait for me, and I'll be there.
You go ahead.
Yeah, it sucks a lot, and there's nothing here. I feel bad for Dane DeHaan, or whoever the hell this kid is. I don't remember his name.
Yeah, that was his name. Is he still in stuff?
Okay, then there you go. Nah, but they tried. They tried really hard to put him in things like, like that Planet movie.
Oh, Valerian and the Thousand.
Yeah, Valerian, the one that bankrupted France. This is this is an F. It's just nothing. He's wearing like a flight suit. He's not green. He's sick.
He's very, very sick. I don't know what you're taking, man, but they cut it with something bad.
Yeah, I mean, it's just don't drink people's blood and call it a cure.
Yeah, or whatever that movie was about.
It was about like 5 different things. I mean, like I think Felicia Hardy's in that movie. Like what?
Oh shit. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's been forever since I've seen that one.
Yeah. Well, it came out in theaters just recently. I can't believe you didn't go.
Oh really? Did it get a re-release?
They all did. Sony re-released all the Spider-Man movies one after the other.
Well, good for them. Yeah, that's a D. You go down there.
Enjoy your D for down.
You stay there and think about what you've done.
We talked about Ultimate characters, but when Norman returned, he wore that classic suit. But then Howard Mackey's like, I'm not done.
No, he was not.
And so God, what the hell do you even call the suit that Green Goblin wore?
It's almost a lack of a suit.
That crazy sharp one from like right before Chapter 1.
Oh shit, yeah. I was thinking like the shirtless era there, where he just had like a hood and no shirt.
Oh, I don't recall that. I'm just thinking of the Howard Mackey one where he's like, he looks, scary. Like he's scarier. That's it. Let's see.
See, this is the thing about the Green Goblin. He's been around for so long. There's blinking you miss it costumes that we forget, even though we've read forever. It's like, no, I don't remember that. Would you remember this one?
Yeah, this one.
Yes, that's the one I'm thinking about, where he's not wearing a shirt. He's got like a cape he's got in there.
Yes, I see what you mean. Yeah, he's a bat.
Yes, 100% a bat.
That's a bat. No, this is weird. I understand what they're going for. They're like, make him cooler, make him scarier, make him like, and to like late 90s-ify him.
Much more animalistic. Again, sticking with my theory that the Green Goblin is the nakedest supervillain of all time. He's taken off more clothes.
He has. He took his tunic and turned it into a cape.
Look, I've really been working out, Spider-Man. I want you to see my abs and everything. I never skip chest day. Really want you to see it.
Okay, fair enough, Norman. What the absolute hell?
Weirdly similar to the Phil Urich version, who was also kind of rocking the cape shirtless there.
Well, and that's the thing, right? I think that's why. I think because they were like, well, I mean, you know, he's working really well. You know, the people love the new Green Goblin, even though they don't. I mean, nobody. I know people who love Phil Urich Green Goblin, but when it came out, you know, they were like, this is a series now. We are doing a thing.
I like Phil as a character. I don't think I've liked anyone he's been, but I love that he exists.
Yeah, exactly.
Every time he comes back, like, oh, cool, it's Phil.
Yeah, good old Phil.
Yeah, that's the one right.
Yeah, actually, this is basically Phil's suit.
Yeah, it's just sharper, less scaly. The gloves and boots are bigger, and he's got like weird bands because it's the 90s, and you know, you got to have a lot of extraneous costuming.
Yeah, so Phil pioneers the suit, and I guess Norman took it or approximated it.
How desperate of him.
This doesn't really say, I mean, it says Green Goblin. It doesn't say hero to me.
No.
Because it's a Green Goblin suit.
And it's sharp again. It's very sharp.
Yeah, yeah.
But not in a good way like the other one is sharp. This is pointy. I feel like I'm gonna nick myself if I touch it too much.
Yeah, you don't want to touch it. Phil's suit, what do you think? What do you give this?
I would say both are the same. Again, I applaud it for doing something different, and I almost want to be nicer to it because it's not Norman, so he doesn't have that history and cachet. I can't say, like, oh, you ruined the legacy of the Green Goblin. Well, he wasn't really the Green Goblin.
Exactly.
He was playing the Green Goblin.
Yeah, that art was great. I will admit.
Yes.
Like, it was a cool looking book, but
sure was.
The suit,
I would say C, yeah, and a lot of that's too for nostalgia because again, I like Phil. I don't know if I like him as the Green Goblin, but I like him.
Exactly. Same deal for the Norman version. It's the same suit, but with different intent.
Oh, that's the Goblin God from What If, the one you put up there, which I think DeFalco created that in a What If, and then I think he brought it back for MC2 as well because he really loved the design.
Yeah.
That's Norman by way of the xenomorph because he looks like a freaking alien because he's got a big, long, distended head and everything's black now instead of purple.
Yeah. I gotcha. It looks exactly like the other one, but without a cape.
Oh yeah,
and
now
he's got more sharp.
He's also got the what is it? The Spartacus, the one shoulder and a strap now.
Oh yeah, you gotta have that.
Gotta have the strap. No gloves, gauntlets, and he looks gooier, like he has tentacles and stuff hanging off him.
Yeah, this is nothing. This is just like fan art.
It's in an official What If.
Yeah, I don't like it.
I don't like it either, but it's very different, at least, and it definitely speaks to an era where it's like, why does everyone keep trying to take the Goblin shirt off?
Yeah, well, look, he's got like demon legs.
Yeah, he's got like again. He looks like a xenomorph.
Yeah, it's weird. It's a weird decision.
DeFalco liked it enough to bring that version back twice.
Yeah, well, DeFalco doesn't let anything go.
Nah, which is one of the things I like about him.
Yeah, it's so Goblin God. All right, fine. I'll put him in the C.
Again, I got like 25 of these.
I know there's so many more.
Do we want a lightning round a couple of these really quickly?
I think we should. Yeah, let's do that.
Let's do it.
Turn Off the Dark.
Fucking
biggest
hilarious.
F in the world. It's hilarious. It's terrible. It's ugly. It's stupid. It's confusing.
But they all look ugly and stupid.
Everyone looks terrible. Everyone looks terrible. But the dude who is playing him is really swinging for it. Like he's trying
really
something.
He
wants.
I like it.
Work.
It really warms my theater kid heart, is what it does. It's like that could have been me, man.
Yeah. I would have been like, yeah, I guess I'll say yes, but like I do look like an effing moron, and I'll never actually perform before a genuine crowd, as opposed to like a bunch of preview nights until the show ended.
As one of the most infamous flameouts of all time. Hey, remember Lion King? How like the costumes were really cutting edge and everything, and how people could move them and they became part of the scenery and everything? Let's do that, but bad.
Yeah, but with Spider-Man, like when they were like, we're making a Spider-Man musical, I was like, don't do that.
Please don't.
Just don't. They've never worked. There's a Superman musical from the 70s. It doesn't
really
work.
Bad.
Yeah, they don't work. Don't do that.
And yet And yet in this modern age, you'll get like a Beetlejuice musical. That's awesome.
That's true, and that's great. And that's
Is
the thing, is they're like, we don't know.
Changed?
We don't. Yeah, they're like, we don't know what will work. I'm sorry.
We're just throwing darts at walls and seeing what hits.
Yeah. We mentioned the MC2 universe a little bit. Normie does don a suit. He dons 2 different versions of the same suit. We can judge them both really quick. Here we go. In his What If 105 appearance, I think. Yeah, like he's got 2 bags instead of 1. Yellow belt doesn't really work. Yeah, he's more dark purple.
Yeah,
it works pretty well for me. I was like, yeah, this is great. He's got a black cape, I think, instead of a purple. It works. It works pretty well for me. I'd say probably like a C, maybe B. It's okay.
I could see Norman wearing this. I could see this being a design that crossed over at one point.
Exactly. But then he goes for it again, and this is more from the other artist's perspective.
Yes.
And I suddenly don't like it as much. Pat O'Leaf's version of it doesn't work for me.
He's much friendlier because he's wearing the goblin suit, but he has a normal guy face.
The guy face is what really kills it for me.
Which I guess he's not trying to be a villain. I guess he's not trying to be any of these things.
Yeah. I don't know. I say it's still a C or D. It's not working for me.
It's a little derpy. I appreciate what they went for. And again, a few more iterations, and I think he could have nailed this concept. If the goblin wasn't a bad guy? What if he just had normal people face?
Yeah. Although ironically, in the image we chose, he is pledging to murder Spider-Girl. So
yeah, that happens too.
But yeah. Actually, if you want to see it a little better, here's another version of it.
Ah, yeah, there you go.
Also, no to the red. I know they nixed it, but like that's a big no.
And the pumpkin is green too.
What? It's just like I remember in the 90s, they're like, let's use every color that's available, even colors that don't exist. And I guess in the like late 90s, 2000s, they're like, let's reduce the colors completely and get back to like using 4. Like, I don't know what it is.
Change for change's sake.
Yeah, weird and unnecessary. Goodbye.
Yeah, I don't like the red.
Moving on. Yeah, no, it's horrible. What else we got? What is this video game one you have over here?
I think that was from Ultimate Alliance 3. I think that's the newest one.
Oh, okay, the Ultimate Alliance 3 suit. That's basically, and it's funny because I also completely forgot to bring up the Humberto Ramos design.
Oh, gotta remember that one.
Which is also super important because it's like I think it's between the classic and the Dotson one.
You're probably right.
But yeah, Ultimate Alliance 3 is basically a nihilist goblin.
Yeah.
Like what?
Yeah, there's a lot here that just doesn't work.
Well, the wings are just a no. And maybe that's just a fan art thing. I'll pull up a different
one.
I
think that was a fan. The one he looks more like a pirate in the official thing because again, he's got the hat, but it looks more like a bandana. He's got the gloves, but they're looking but they're higher and everything. Yeah, it's very swashbuckling green guy. He's got shorts instead of the little underoos.
Yeah. The purple on the cuffs is a choice that I think is just like they're like there's too much green, break it up, but there's no. It doesn't make any sense to the outfit. Also, we're honoring the scales by putting like cross hatching into like the belt for one of his man purses. That's fun.
Yeah,
I appreciate the effort. I don't like it.
No, again, you could tell it's like we have to redesign a bunch of characters, and I guess we got to redesign this one too.
Yeah. I'm not wild about it. I'll just say D.
Fair enough.
Let me pull out Green Goblin.
We also got to do the Thunderbolts one too. Don't forget.
Oh yes. The Humberto Ramos design was again another like it's a knight's armor kind of thing. He's got like shoulder straps and stuff like that. They actually made an action figure out of it, so I'll pull up that version because it's just fun that they actually made an action figure out of it. Here we go.
Yes, okay, yes, I remember this one. Yeah, he's all bug-eyed in this one.
Yeah, he's got crazy eyes. The gloves are shorter. He's got buccaneer boots. He's got 2 belts or two purses. Stop it with the double purses.
Like I can understand you're trying to make like an X thing there. You're trying to make it like part of the costume.
They're doing a couple things, right? They want to incorporate this like symbol into it, but they also want you to like make sense of what, like, how does he know which purse has the pumpkin bombs and which one has the other thing? Who cares?
This version is taller too, if I remember too. They make him like lanky. They make him like Jack Skellington in the art.
Yes, they reduce for as buff as he becomes in the Ultimate Universe. They reduce his girth and size in the other one, in the main universe. They slim him
down, which is not a terrible idea of him being this kind of lanky thing. But again, I wonder if they're afraid of Joker and maybe even Jackal comparisons.
I mean, he looks just like both of them. Like he looks
really
like Joker and Jackal at the same time. It's also funny because like no one else used this design. It was just in Peter Parker. It was just in Spectacular Spider-Man, and it was just Humberto Ramos. No one else was using this.
No, never again. Real flash in the pan.
I appreciate like the effort and the thought, and and it's like it's Ramos's decision to like put in the stitching on the hat that you have to like stick with and do, and you have to keep doing over and over again. If he wants to commit to doing that, go for it. You got to shake it up. I wouldn't wish that on other artists, but yeah, I'm not a fan. It's fine, but I would have rather seen, and of course, when we do see him do like regular Goblin, it just looks better. Like he incorporates those scales, and it just works so much better.
Yeah, works in the story that it does. Similarly to for like weird little one-offs, Green Goblin in the Six Men of Sinistry, which was like a Spider-Verse tie-in where they were all steampunky. I think he's only like in one page and doesn't even get like a freaking line of dialogue.
Right.
I like it though, because like a Six Men of Sinistry and that Lady Spider is a good story.
Right. Oh, totally. Yeah. What was the other thing? Oh, the Ultimate Green Goblin.
Yes, the newest one. Yes.
The new Ultimate Green Goblin. Now that you were saying, like, yeah, they basically just
if we did that original movie today, this is what it would look like.
Yeah, but only in the context of like people love that old movie, so make it like the old movie. Like,
yeah, and also too, it makes like a lot of sense within universe because Oscorp, as we now know via the still alive Gwen Stacy, actually acquired everything left over from Stain Stark, meaning, oh, so that's why it looks like an Iron Man armor, because it probably is.
Yeah. Joel, I'm sorry, I have to interrupt you because the Red Baron is outside your house, and it sounds like he's about to bomb you into the Stone Age. Are you okay?
Yeah. No, that's fine there. You know, I made a deal with the Kaiser. I'm fine.
Good, okay. Yeah, this is better than the movie version by a country mile.
More purple. I like the purple is the undersuit, and the pointiness on the head is, you know, indicative of the hat.
Oh yeah, totally. It is essentially take the movie design and fix it. Like just fix it. Like, because he does have under armor. Like he has under. It's just that they made it green. Yep. So make it purple. That changes like they're like, oh my god, that makes it all better. Because we don't have to pay an actor, cover his face.
Yeah, it's also early in the universe too, and it's Harry, so there's no promise that like we maybe won't get a more traditional monstrous looking one later. Something could change.
The other thing is, he doesn't like he's like, I'm not trying to be scary looking.
Yeah, I'm a vigilante. I'm trying to be a hero.
Yeah, I'm trying to hide my identity. That's it. You know, more Iron Man in the face, but yeah, it says Green Goblin. He even his Goblin glider has a little head on it, like all the other Goblin gliders. So it's like,
I like.
You know what you're doing. This is cool. I don't love it because it is like the movie, but I understand it and
appreciate it,
and I appreciate the thought and work that went into it. So I'm going to give it a B.
Good idea. Let's do Thunderbolts too, because I know that's a big one that we haven't done yet.
Thunderbolts, yeah, that one. And it's basically just like Mike Deodato Jr. draws a crazy looking goblin. It's also, I remember during the Thunderbolts, just everyone just being like, when is the Green Goblin going to show up and tell, like, and just show these effing villains like what is really scary.
Yeah, he was just basically villain edging us for multiple issues.
Yeah, which I mean, I understand. I mean, like, you know, yeah, he's great. This is again everything that was working back then. They're like, oh, we want to use the kind of like stitched homemade quality. We want to use the movie armor with the knee pads and the double purse and the like the sideburns tassels. Like there's all of the designs are being thrown at this character.
The eyes have never been more bulbous and yellow.
which I think really makes it work.
Makes him look like a maniac. It's popping out of his head.
Yes, it makes him look like a maniac. It works so well. There's actually a better version of this.
I killed your brother Peter. I look just like this.
Exactly.
Yeah, this is a beautiful marriage of multiple things.
Yeah, it's all the ideas at one time. You know, although I don't care for the fact that, like, when he takes out the suit, he says it smells like blondes, like this classic costume, and I'm like, no, this is a brand new costume. You are not wearing the classic costume.
Yeah, come on.
You didn't wear this when you killed Gwen. But also it incorporates some of the Humberto ideas, like shorter gloves and boots.
A lot of brown too.
Yeah, the brown, and I think the brown is a smart move when it comes to when you're doing a homemade goblin, when you're not going with a high-tech goblin.
Yeah. It's
smart to incorporate the brown.
And it sells the medievalness of a goblin, too, without going too hard into fantasy Dungeons and Dragons.
Yes. I'm not wild about the double purse, but in this, I like that they're two completely different purses with two completely different straps.
Yeah. Again, if it worked anywhere, it works here. Also, they still can't really understand or figure out what's happening in the goblin's crotchal region. He's not wearing the underoos. The armor just kind of
it's kind of like a cod piece. Yeah, it just there's a delineation. You can see like there's a separation between the legs and the cod, but like
he doesn't have a loincloth, which I'm okay with because I kind of hate the loincloth whenever he has that. It's so distracting. Even in something great like Spectacular Spider-Man, I'm like, that loincloth is really distracting.
I don't mind the loincloth. I'll take it, but I understand the thought process behind it, or behind your motivation.
It just feels so Tarzan every time I see him. Like, this does not match your gimmick.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Well, but what is my gimmick? Like, what am I doing?
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? At this point, like, who is really pulling the threads on what the Green Goblin's theming is all about? Again,
I'm a goblin, but I'm high tech. I throw pumpkins.
Yeah, like I have pumpkins. So I'm Halloween themed, but like goblins and ghouls and stuff. Sure, but also I'm medieval themed because goblins existed in D&D. Like what? It's a lot. True. It's a lot of questions. It raises a lot of questions, but it is pretty rad. So I'm going to give it an A.
I would even go a bit further. I would say, you know what? I think that's an S tier. I think that one lives in so many people's minds. I think that's a lot of people's favorite, and deservedly, and also weirdly, one we never saw again, but one that I think is more special.
Yeah,
because it lives in this era in time.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
And if he brought it out again tomorrow, everyone would go nuts.
Yes. You also included the like armored Ultimate Goblin from the Ultimate Cartoon Show.
Yeah, just because I figured we would do like a whole like Ultimate segment where we look at all of them.
I hate the armor so much.
He's
already a Hulk.
Right, they're trying. They were trying so many things. They're saying, okay, so it's Ultimate, so he's got to be big, but also we want him to ride a glider, but also maybe he shouldn't be shirtless because then he'll just look like Hulk. So we should put something on him, but it won't be purple though.
Yeah, it's just like that's an example of a go home and do it again.
And like, it's really easy to clown on the Ultimate Spider-Man era of cartoons and everything for being lame and being shitty, but also they could do better costumes. Their take on Scorpion is like a ninja, actually pretty cool. Their Kraven actually looked pretty excellent.
Yeah.
So they could do good, but they kind of bungled the friggin' Green Goblin.
Exactly. Yeah, that was not great. Although, like conversely, in the Ultimate Spider or in the Spectacular Spider-Man cartoon, while I'm not thrilled with all the designs in that show, I'm very okay with Green Goblin in that show.
Yeah, that one worked well. Again, it's a modern updating. He doesn't have the Victorian cap. He looks like an aviator is the thing there. He's got the aviation hat and everything. I think he has goggles sometimes too, but not all the time. He takes them on and off. He's got the loincloth, which kind of pisses me off, but it's also kind of like a fanny pack now. They've done away with the purse, and now he reaches into the pumpkin to pull stuff out.
Yeah. There's something there.
Not gloves, it's gauntlets. He's wiry and spindly now. They didn't make him big.
No, again, I like that a lot.
The voice actor and the performance is doing a great job. I like it too. I would give it at least an A, just on quality alone.
Fair enough. Yeah, there he goes into the A category. I think that's most of them.
That's all the big ones.
There's alternate realities and stuff like that, but
we'd be here all day if we did all of them.
Exactly.
Like Gwen Stacy becomes a goblin in Earth 606. Again, I mentioned Spider-Man Noir. He's Spider-Man Noir, green and all.
Yeah, exactly.
He's Killer Croc. He's got a skin problem.
Yeah, that one's I get it. And maybe it works in that universe, but not for me.
House of M. Peter actually pretty good when he becomes the Green Goblin. They incorporate more black than purple. They actually get the strap thing right because they don't make it a purse. They just make it fucking bondage gear, and it looks much better.
Yes. I hated that book. just for the record,
I haven't thought about it in forever.
I was like, it was the book that proved to me that Mark Waid cannot do everything. This is like the long hair. This is a design. There's a thought in this design.
Lots of scales, lots of spikes.
He's got knight's armor. He's got the claw toes. He's got tunic. He's got the bombs like hang off his belt. This is essentially what if a nerd designed Green Goblin? Like it's
right. I don't miss the purple. I don't miss the purple as much. Like this is the one time they made black actually work.
Well, and you know why? Because it ain't Norman. Norman's more flamboyant than Peter. Peter's like, no, it's gotta be it's gotta be dark, like my black costume that I don't know I have.
And again, the whole S&M strappy thing kind of worked because it's like, oh, it's Peter self-flagellating himself because he hates the world and everything and hates what could have been. Where it's like, oh, you're kind of doing some storytelling in the art, hey? How about that?
Yeah, there's some thought process behind it. So I'd give it like a C or a B. I think.
Again, I think it's as far as multiversal what if stories go, I think that's actually one of the better looking ones.
I agree. It was a twist I saw coming from 10 streets down the road, but right. I still appreciate the effort. So yeah. Ray Farr, do you think Insomniac will do armor or genetics for Green Goblin?
An excellent question.
I don't know.
I mean, everything else seems so high tech.
Yeah, I think they're gonna go with I think they're gonna go with a suit. If I had to guess, I'd say they go with this.
Maybe we'll get the best of both worlds. The first time you fight him, it's like armored high-tech suit. Then the big finale at the end, he becomes more of a goblin monster.
I think that makes a lot of sense, especially if Miles or Peter beats him as a regular person in the beginning, and then he comes back where he's like, I've made some modifications of my own.
Oh, he should totally be like a Devil May Cry recurring villain. Like you fight him 3 times throughout the game, and he gets progressively harder.
Yeah. Steampunk Ultimate Green Goblin with the purple cape was great, and he looked more ghoulish with it. It's too bad Bendis ditched it. I think it was just hard to maintain.
Ghoulish is a good word, though.
Yeah. Sir, I'm sure I'm going to come up soon. It's going to come up soon, but I love Spectacular Spider-Man's Green Goblin. It's toyetic, but good toyetic, and Steve Blum's performance is really fun. His Spider-Verse look is a choice. Oh, yes, Spider-Verse.
Oh, yes, he's only in the first movie for a couple seconds, and yeah, they try and marry the ultimate look where he's a big hulking monster with the original comic look because he's got the little hat and he's got the bag, but it looks hilarious, and he has tiny wings.
Yeah, it's a weird decision. And I think, as I recall, one of their explanations for it was that, oh, that's right. No, they made the Green Goblin. That's right. We see him for a second.
Yes.
For the show or for the movie.
Yeah.
And there, it's just nothing. This is nothing.
Yeah, he fights Peter early on and then doesn't come back.
Yeah. They, when they needed Lizard in the montage scene, where they explained how how Gwen's Peter died.
Right.
They just used, because it was going to be silhouetted, they just used the Green Goblin model and added a tail.
Oh, okay. Well, as I appreciate artists, they're finding a way to make it all work. And I'll be nicer to this Green Goblin because he's only there for a minute. It's not about him. If anything, him being that way and being there, just being like, no, we're not rehashing Green Goblin. We're doing different things with new characters.
Yeah. Well, it's impossible. He's not Green Goblin. He just does he's not even Norman or anything. He just does.
And also his Peter dies, so he has no raison d'etre. Yeah.
Exactly. So looking at our tier list, we have 6 different designs in the D or the fail category, which is the 67 suit. Understandably so, despite the fact that it's very classic looking.
Yeah.
It just looks goofy without the scale mail. We got Dane DeHaan's movie Green Goblin sucks. Just the less said about the better. The Broadway suit is it's not even Green Goblin. He looks like a cactus man.
Hell.
Normie's goofy regular face Green Goblin is no good. I also threw Ultimate Green Goblin with an armor and glider into the F category.
That's fair.
And we didn't get a chance to, but if you ever see Groot Normie before he puts on his Green Goblin suit, he has like hilarious back and front tattoos and cornrows that are turned into dreadlocks, and it's just the less said about it again, the better.
It's a Venture Brothers joke is what it is.
Yes, that's exactly what he is. In the C tier, so in the passing category, another the animated series from 81 / It's Amazing Friends. They just get the coloring a little bit better, and they at least imply some chainmail or scale mail, I should say. The Marvel Knights suit, the Ultimate Bendis suits, both of them. Phil and his look, along with God Goblin, Fortnite. I'm sorry, Ultimate Alliance 3 Goblin.
Yeah. Looking like a pirate.
Yep. House of M Goblin and Spider-Verse Goblin is in the C tier.
Fun group.
Getting up to the B's, we have Ditko's and Romita's Green Goblin, along with John Romita Jr.'s Green Goblin, Alex Ross's Green Goblin. This might as well be called the sacrilege section. I mean, we just said, in the B category are Ditko, Romita, Alex Ross, and the movie.
You know, the godfathers of this medium. And we put it next to the movies and Fortnite.
Yes, and one video game, Ultimate Alliance 2, along with the Ultimate Green Goblin from 2023-24.
So we were sure to put Hickman in there too while we were at it.
Yeah, and why not Hickman too? Yeah, sure. We also have in the A category, the nebulous version everyone thinks of.
Marvel Wiki version.
Yeah, the Marvel Wiki version. We've got the Sal Buscema, Harry Osborn suit, which is, just a scaled down. It's the same version, but like trimmed down and economized.
You gotta love it.
The Kamen version from Superior, and also the Spectacular Spider-Man cartoon. Really? No.
Around.
And in the S category, we have Spider-Man 94, the current Ed McGuinness suit, and the Mike Deodato Jr. Thunderbolts run,
which I think are 3 really strong ones.
No one would be disappointed to see those versions.
No, you can argue with us about the other ones, but I don't think you can argue with us about those 3. I think that's the unholy trinity of goblins.
Exactly. Where's the Ramos suit? Did I put that in there?
I think we talked about it. I don't think you've... I think you had a picture ready to go for the Ramos one.
Yeah. Oh well, it was in there. Let's say that it's a C.
And one of the unused ones was Amalgam, where it's Goblin and Two-Face, but he just literally looks like Goblin with another face.
That sucks. Is that from friggin' Wolverine? Is that from Dark Claw?
I do believe so.
Yeah, that's when I saw Goblin Face or whatever it's supposed to name. But yeah, there you go. That's the tier. We want to thank you so much for hanging out with us. And more importantly, thank you to our super chatters for sponsoring today's show. We do appreciate your support. And of course, to our chat for being cool and kind and friendly and respectful to each other. I do appreciate it for your suggestions and ideas. Make sure to subscribe to Joel if you want more Joel, and catch us here for more on this channel. Subscribe, like the video, and click the bell for notifications, and stay tuned for more here on ComicPop Returns. See you guys next time. I'm Sal.
I'm Joel.
So long, everybody.
Bye-bye.